We've come to the shores of Lake Erie, just outside Cleveland in Wickliffe, Ohio. It's the finals of the NCAA Bowling Championship, now on ESPN. We welcome you to Roll House Entertainment, formerly Freeway Lanes, for tonight's finals, featuring the Lady Jacks of Stephen F. Austin and the Commodores of Vanderbilt, who are trying to go back-to-back. You look at the bracket, and man, Vanderbilt had their work cut out for them, losing in the very first round. They had to come through the losers bracket with impressive wins over McKendree and perennial powerhouse Nebraska, but here they are in the finals against Stephen F. Austin, who breezed on in to today's championship. Well, hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong. This is Carolyn Doran Ballard, the Hall of Famer. And Carolyn, I'll tell you, Vanderbilt trying to win that back-to-back national championship, and it's not an easy thing to do.
It is not. You are the team with the target on your back. Everybody's out for you, and it's funny because Vanderbilt is usually a very strong team from the beginning. They were not. They came in playing defense. You can't do that. And what happened? Got knocked into the losers bracket, but this morning they came through like the champions they are. So I'm expecting great things.
Stephen F. Austin won this title in 2016, and guess who's back? Dakota Hazelwood, their anchor bowler, and she's great.
She is an awesome bowler. She is a senior, and she would love nothing better than to go out as a national champion. What does she have to do? Stay focused, and she will feed off her team. She loves the energy that this team gives to her, so I expect her to make great shots when needed.
How about Maria Belanova? We saw her this morning struggle a little bit of trouble with her nerves. What do you expect from her tonight?
It's funny, Maria always comes through in the clutch, and she did. She struggled a little bit in those first few games, but this morning she took a deep breath, stepped up, and came through in the clutch. The coach had a little chat with her after this morning and said, look, here's what you have to do. One shot at a time. It's not on all your shoulders all the time, so take it one shot at a time. She said, I'm going to breathe.
They're going to breathe and have that important 10th frame, perhaps, to decide it. We use the Baker format. Explain what that's about.
Baker format is the epitome of collegiate bowling. Your first bowler will bowl the first and the 6th frame, second bowler, second, 7th, and so on and so forth. You get 2 shots. They need to be the best 2 shots of your life.
Well, both of these teams have a shot at the title. It's Stephen F. Austin against Vanderbilt, and the first frame is coming up next.
The NCAA Women's Bowling Championship is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Welcome back to Roll House Entertainment in Wickliffe, Ohio. Who is going to win it this year? Is it Stephen F. Austin, or is it top-ranked Vanderbilt winning back-to-back national championships? The Lady Jacks are led by Amber Lemke, who is in her 8th year, of course, guiding them to the national championship in 2016. Her lineup, she says, it's a young one, including a freshman leading off in Carleen Byer, but you've got Dakota Hazelwood in the anchor position and Paige Beanie, both seniors, in that 4 and 5 spot. Now the head coach of the Commodores, in fact, the only coach they've ever had. He started the program, John Williamson, now in his 15th year, and of course they won it last year and also won in 2007. His lineup, well, features Emily Rigney from Australia in the leadoff spot, and then in the anchor, we've talked about her, Maria Belanova from Moscow, Russia, and her parents are here as well, Carolyn, all the way from Russia to watch her bowl. They haven't seen her bowl as a collegiate bowler in quite some time, and so that kind of adds to her nerves a little bit.
I think it does. I mean, your parents obviously travel all the way from Russia to watch you bowl, and I think she put a little bit more pressure on herself, just wanting to make them proud, wanting to win for the team. So again, had to really put everything back in check and just decide, I got to take one shot at a time.
I love it when they come out of their huddle with the cheers and getting themselves fired up. They've had a chance to get used to the lights, the cameras, and now it's time for action. Stephen F. Austin, and They're purple. Of course, their championship in 2016, the school's only national championship. And we'll see if the Lady Jacks can pull off the mild upset against the Commodores, who come in as the #1 seed. And leading things off for Vanderbilt will be Emily Rigney, the only lefty in our competition here tonight.
It'll be interesting to see how she plays the lanes, because she is the one that will see the least amount of transition, being the only one on the left-hand side.
Well, crossing over for the first strike of the day.
Well, I don't care who you are. I don't care how many titles you have. The first few shots are, you're getting your nerves in check. You're trying to get your legs underneath you, and again, you only get 2 shots per game, so it's a lot of pressure.
First time that Carlene Beyer has faced this kind of pressure, growing up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. She handled it pretty well, leaving the 10-pin. Amber Lemke told us that she has juggled her lineup quite a bit this year, looking for that perfect formula. And she said Beyer just settled in to that leadoff role in her freshman campaign. Look at some of the keys to victory for these two teams.
Stephen F. Austin, they want to keep it really simple. Fill frames, and the team needs to stay focused. And what Amber had said that means is they need to just pay attention to themselves and not get caught off with what the other team was doing.
A missed single pin. The 10 stays put, and an open frame for Stephen F. Austin. Now for Vanderbilt, how about them?
Vanderbilt's keys, they want to control their emotions. That goes back to what happened early on, where they were just thinking too far ahead, playing defense. And again, fill frames, make those spares. Whatever you leave, pick it up.
I think that is probably, in the years that we've been doing this, filling the frames is far more important than stringing strikes.
Everybody gets really caught up into, oh, I didn't strike. Oh, I didn't strike. It's okay that you didn't strike. I would take 10 clean frames over, a 5-bagger, open. I mean, it's really just about making that shot and just picking up the spare.
Megan Eaglehouse leaving the 2-pin. And now Adele Warner will try to convert this. She's got it. Nice spare off the strike. And a lead for Vanderbilt after the open in the first for the Lady Jacks. Eaglehouse going after the 2-pin. Right at it. Oh my gosh, she tugged it. And that's 2 open frames in a row. Those are the nerves of this first game.
Change balls. Going to throw it a little bit straighter using a spare ball. And she missed left, but that is all nerves. They were rock solid during the last few days, and this is just one of those things they have to regroup.
How about this? Kristen Qua, who did not bowl earlier today, carpal tunnel injury, but she's going to give it a go here tonight in the championship. And leaves the 6. That's a big story, because that is a huge addition for Vanderbilt if she's able to go physically here tonight.
And Kristen's also going to play a little bit deeper than everybody else. Her ball speed looks a little bit slower, but that could be due to the injury. It'll be interesting to see how long she plays.
Now Sarah Gill. There's a way to come off of 2 opens. Interesting to see how Kristen will react, not having bowled. We didn't see her yesterday, didn't see her again this morning. And now she's able to pick up the 6-pin and keep things clean for the Commodores.
It will be, because you know what? Not bowling, and then all of a sudden, by the way, hey, championship. So your two frames are extremely important, right? It will, but she's got a lot of international experience as well as the collegiate experience. So I think she'll settle in rather quickly.
Here's Paige Beanie One of two seniors on this Lady Jack team. But first, Samantha Gaynor. Well, she has been solid, rock solid, just a sophomore.
She really has been the one that has been a steady Eddie for this team for the last few days, and especially this morning. She really made some key shots to set up that 10th frame.
Yeah, when Maria was struggling, Samantha picked up things, and they were able to beat Nebraska earlier today to get to the finals. Now Beanie got him to mix around, and that's a double for Stephen F. Austin.
I can't really see the angle on the left lane, but on the right lane, it seems like the girls have already moved a little bit deeper than they were even this morning when the other teams were bowling. Remember, this pair here has not been bowled on during this competition.
First shot from Maria Bolanova. High. And she's got a split on her hands with 3-6-7-10.
And talking to Coach John, I call him Coach John, her misses are usually to the left. So if they can get her just calm down and get that ball to the right, she should have a nice look like she did this morning.
Just slid by the 7 in the open frame for Vanderbilt. Pretty much makes this a dead even match near the halfway point. So that's a big break for Stephen F. Austin to come back after having back-to-back opens to start this. And there's the spare for the Lady Jacks in the 5th. We're halfway through game 1 and the best of 7 match. And we'll come back in just a moment. Halfway through game 1, and we're dead even. Vanderbilt and Stephen F. Austin. The Lady Jacks had 2 open frames to begin things, but came through with a double, and now an open for Vanderbilt in the 5th. And so we go to the second half of this game, basically dead even, and back up for Vanderbilt is Emily Rigney. Remember, she crossed over the first time. Nice adjustment, leads the 7.
That was a great shot, especially after coming out of commercial. You know, you're waiting, and also, again, you're only throwing 2 shots per game, so your wait seems a little bit longer. So that was a great shot. She just needs to concentrate on making the spare. She'll change to a spare ball.
Got it out there with not all the way, and a little sleeper action as she leaves the 2-8.
Here she's getting it way down lane, about out to the 7 board. Comes in light 2-8.
And a spare for Emily in the 6th. Had an open in the 1st. Important to hit this one dead on.
And Carlene has a little bit of slower ball speed, so she will probably be further left than some of the other girls.
Perfect. Well done. That's the way to get rid of the nerves.
And using her strike ball to shoot the 2-8, the double wood's probably smart on this card. I can see, I was listening during the commercial, they're saying the lanes are a little bit tighter than what they have bowled on, so they're making the adjustment for that.
Through the nose for Adele Warner, but gets a break and leaves just the 6 pin. Now Megan Eaglehouse. Stephen F. Austin from Nacogdoches, Texas. But out of the 9 members on their roster, only 4 from the Lone Star State, including Megan, who is from Cibolo, Texas.
Here she gets it out to the same break point. Actually, it was a little bit out to almost the 6th board. And you can see with this lane pattern, it's a 40-foot pattern, so your break point should be somewhere around that 9-10. And once the girls were getting out to that 6-7, it tended not to come off the pattern. The key was, I personally felt some of the girls should have tried to play a little bit further to the right.
Mm-hmm.
They all jumped further left where there was more hook, and I think that's where they struggled until the transition of the lane came through.
Adele Warner is waiting. I think they had to reset the 6 pin. It had moved out of position. And now she's ready to go. Vanderbilt from Nashville, Tennessee. They've been to 13 straight NCAAs. Tough one here. Close. Missed the head pin twice. And that's 2 open frames in a row for Megan. It's a good idea what she just did right there. Kristen Qua. See how she settled her nerves. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath.
Kristen has a lot of training. She was once a member of the Singapore national team, and I know they get a lot of training, especially on the mental game. She's got a lot more axis rotation than a lot of the other girls, so she's always further left. Right now, though, doesn't seem as like she's got as much leverage as she usually has getting into the line. Again, I think she's just favoring that wrist just a little bit.
Baby split for Sarah Gill, a 3-10. Stephen F. Austin now falling behind by 17 pins. We did not expect to see Kristen bowling here tonight. Coach John Williamson said she might be available, and I'm sure in warm-up she said, "Coach, I gotta go." And she's a senior. She's like, "I am not sitting this one out."
I'm sure she did.
I'll tough it out.
And you'll see the majority of the girls change to a spare ball. Kind of takes the lane out of play, takes the pattern out of play. It's going to go a lot straighter. You can angle yourself directly at your spare. You know it's going to go straight.
Good shot.
So there's no shock.
2 ways to make that. Sarah took the easier of the 2 ways, putting it between the 3 and the 10.
Textbook style right here. Right in between the 3-10.
That's 2 strikes for Samantha Gaynor.
Samantha has definitely shown why she is that foundation bowler. She sets up the anchor bowler every time, just makes great shots, always keeps the ball in play, and she's an excellent spare shooter.
Paige Beanie. Got it. Love how that 6 slid out into the channel and knocked over the 10.
Keeps the ball on line right in front of her. A little bit of a lower rev rate and gets the little love tap at the end, getting out the 10.
All right, both with the foundational strike in the 9th. So it's up to the anchor bowlers, and Maria Bolanova can close things out with a good 10th. Strike here would do it. The one thing she wanted to avoid there, though, was any kind of a split.
Much better shot off her hand. She actually goes heel toe into the line. Gets this one further down the lane, as you can see, right of that tracer out to about 8. Leaves herself just the 2 pin.
decided to double up there. It just looks like that right side, it's a little tighter, and it's hard to get that ball back into the pocket.
I think the girls that are going light here can parallel to the right just a little bit. I don't think the move needs to be to the left yet, and or stay where you're at and go with a little more of an aggressive ball.
Again, it's a best of 7 match. Vanderbilt is going to take game 1. There's the spare for Dakota, but it won't matter as Vanderbilt has closed out game 1.
And this is something we talked about earlier, Dave, the fill shot. We didn't see a lot of the teams do something different on the fill shot, right? The match is over, right? This game is over.
That's right.
To me, I would put a different ball in my hand. I would move to a different part of the lane, make some type of adjustment so that I can see what I have out there, because you know what? Again, you only get 2 shots, and you're going to be flipping lanes. So you want to have some idea of what your options are.
So Vanderbilt takes game 1. They finish with a 183. And that'll be a 167 finish for Stephen F. Austin. So Vanderbilt, they take game 1 of this best of 7 national championship final. And we'll be back with game 2 in just a moment. The Women's NCAA Gymnastics Championship begins Thursday, April 19th, 7:30 Eastern, live on ESPN2. For more information on the 2019 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. And we're playing for one right now. It's the Women's Bowling Championship, and Vanderbilt wins game 1. So it'll be Stephen F. Austin to lead things off in game 2, and again, Carlene Beyer. Oh, that's unlucky. A pocket split.
Good shot by Carlene. It's very interesting because while the other team is bowling on the other lane, you need to watch just a little bit to see what that lane's doing and where they're playing. She looks like she's playing both lanes the same. That lane just might be a little tighter for her.
Rigney leaving the 3-pin. Emily's got the biggest advantage of everyone. Being the only lefty, she can create her own path.
Yes, and she shouldn't see very much transition.
Right.
She's only throwing, 2 shots a game, so very little transition for her. If she can execute, she should have a very good look to the pocket.
Well, you needed to get one, or would like to have gotten one there, and empty frame in the first.
That's something we spoke about earlier, too, about when you're on a double and you get a 6 count, someone gets 1 instead of the 2. It really counts. So anytime you do get a split, count should always be in your mind.
Right. Because you don't know. At the end, that 1 pin might make all the difference.
Absolutely.
And again, Stephen F. Austin now making a change in the lineup. Dakota Fakney comes in. Pretty good substitution.
Excellent shot. She made a good shot on the fill shot. She left a flat 10. That one looked like she had a little bit more ball speed, a little bit more aggressive. Great shot.
Dakota Fakney in her first appearance of the night, subbing for Megan Eaglehouse. Now here is Del Warner. Oh, a washout. It's makeable, but it's no fun. So you get the break if you're Vanderbilt. That first frame, when they get the split on the pocket hit, and you don't take advantage of it by coming back in frame 2 with a washout. And again, pin count too.
Exactly.
5 pins.
Correct.
Ooh, good attempt at it. That head thing just slid around the 6th, though, and an open frame for Vandy.
Made a great shot at it, and when you say count, she couldn't get any more than that without making it, so she did what she was supposed to do. Taking a re-rack, I believe, on the left lane.
So now Sarah Gill. Sarah born in Providence, Rhode Island, but grew up in Attleboro, Massachusetts. And a double.
Another light hit. You'll see right here, half pocket, but blows the 7 as the last pin off the deck. I wouldn't move.
I wouldn't either.
Nope. Stay right there.
Kristen Qua, she's been crossing over her first few shots. Light on the hit, and the 2-4-5 remain.
Okay, the ball down to that 7-8 where we saw earlier the other team, right? Stephen F. Austin, when they got it just a little bit too far down the lane, it just wasn't reading the back end of the pattern. Need to make a little bit of a move.
That's where the out of bounds is, isn't it?
A little bit,
Yep.
because this, again, 40-foot pattern, so you're thinking the break point should be about 9-10. Now that's just, you know, a hint. You don't know. It could be a little bit to the right of that, could be a little bit to the left of it. But as we see, especially on this right lane, it's just not breaking as hard as it is on the left lane.
So a spare. You see there, Josie Ernest Barnes, 5-time member of Team USA and assistant coach for John Williamson, of course, a Vandy All-American.
And a 2-time PWBA champion.
Yeah. How about 3 in a row for the Lady Jacks?
Great leverage into the line. Look at that extension. Another light hit, 7-pin last one off the deck. They love it. And the players, it's interesting because the players throw the ball very similar. So they're able to read the lanes, the lanes off of each other. And again, as you'll see, the chemistry going through, the chit-chatting after every shot, so they can give them the feedback as to what they're doing on the lane.
There's definitely a difference between the right and the left lanes, because we saw Samantha Gaynor over on the left lane with 2 strikes, no problem right in the pocket, and that one came in light. And now she's left the 2-4-10 split. Another open frame, though, for the Commodores, and Stephen F. Austin pulling away, now leading by 38. Not even at the halfway point.
I would think they're going to get together now and talk a little bit about what they're seeing on this right lane as compared to the left lane. Because Stephen F. Austin has definitely honed in on what was going on the left lane and will make some adjustments coming back to the right lane, I'm sure. So Vandy needs to just decide what they want to do here, especially in the next couple frames.
Yeah.
If Stephen F. Austin continues to strike, maybe time to make a big move.
Maria Balanova. Her best shot. Well, is that the one that gets Vandy going? They need to get going. Down 48 at the halfway point of Game 2. Commodores lead 1-0. We'll be back. Welcome back to Row House Entertainment, formerly Freeway Lanes in Wickliffe, Ohio. We're here for the 2019 NCAA Women's Bowling Championship, and Stephen F. Austin is taking command of Game 2 after that open frame on the unlucky pocket 7-10 split in the first. They have rattled off 4 strikes in a row. in a row. Wow.
Great shot by Carlene. She actually put a little more speed on that ball. She was really aggressive through it. I love the reach. I mean, when they get really long with it, shot making is so much better.
Brigney leaves the 7-pin. Another pocket hit, though, for Emily. I'm not saying this game is all but lost, but if I were Vandy, I would really use this time to experiment and try to lock in so the next time you're back on this lane, you know what to do.
Especially with Kristen coming in, because Kristen has not been in the pocket yet, so I'd make a move.
Yeah.
See what happens. You know, score doesn't matter, especially if they just continue to mark.
Mm-hmm. Dakota faking. Came in off the bench in game 2, and all she did was strike. And does it again. Oh, they can't miss. 6 in a row.
That was a great sub right there. Again, able to line up off of her teammates, a little bit slower ball speed, a little bit further left than them, but same break.
Still searching on the right lane. Sarah Gill thinking, can I keep this string going?
And it's going to be very interesting to see what Stephen F. Austin does when they get back to the right lane. What adjustment they make from having the same reaction.
Right. I think it's whoever picks up on what to do on the right lane the fastest, that's the team that could wind up hoisting the trophy.
Well, we heard some of the coaches talking about it. They said we needed to stay ahead of the moves. We stayed ahead of the moves. We stayed out of trouble. And that's what got them here to the championship match.
Nice conversion. All right, for 7 strikes in a row for the Lady Jocks. Here comes Sarah Gill. She's used to this kind of pressure. She bowled 2 300 games in high school. They were yelling go, 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 but it needed to stop. Lucky, though, to trip out the 9 and leaves the much easier 3-6-10. Now let's see if Kristen makes a move. She did. And that's what you need from your senior leadership.
You can see on that shot right there, she trusted the ball to get a little bit further to the right, had a little more ball speed on it. She usually throws the ball pretty hard. Of course, like you said, she's coming off an injury, so probably a little tentative when she first started, but that was a very aggressive shot and made the move on the lane.
Open frame. It's not mathematically over. The max score, though, for Vandy is 196. And you can see Stephen F. Austin already at 183 with 2 frames to go. And those are the max scores. And the one that's important to look at there is Vandy's 196. So you basically need 14 picks to wrap up game 2, and that's going to do it right there. So we're going to be even at 1 game apiece.
And there's been a key here on this left lane, if you've noticed. A lot of light hits.
Yeah.
It was the 7-pin shoved off the deck last, and that one, they got the 2 taps on the 10-pin.
Well, they're making that move, and now that one crossing over for Samantha. So you make the move on the right lane, then you have to get it back on the left lane where you were before.
And I think the left lane, the girls were playing a little bit deeper to start anyway. So whatever move they're chasing on this right lane, they can probably stay with that on the left lane. But we just got to figure out how much of a move when they come back to this right lane. And I would really be keeping my eye on what SFA is doing once they come back to this lane.
Absolutely. You know, at an elite level like this, they all have good form. They all can string together strikes, make their spares. They're very good. What it comes down to more than anything, and it's true at the pro level as well, is who makes the adjustments the quickest and who can come up with something that will work for you on these particular conditions.
Correct. It is about making the adjustments or seeing how the lane is transitioning and making that move 1 to 2 frames before your opponent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to do, and sometimes it's not, especially with two shots per game. I mean, you're not allowing everybody to bowl 10 frames. So the adjustments might be a little, a little smaller because you don't know, you only got the 2 shots.
And you have to then read your teammates, and their style may be different than what you throw. So their line of attack may be different than what you do. But you have to learn that through the year. All right, if they're going to be here, I know I have to be here.
Right. Here's one of the keys. No matter how you throw the ball, just watch the ball motion. Where is the ball hooking? Where's the break point? And then line yourself up to try to get to that break point.
Oh. It makes it sound simple.
It is simple. We just make it tougher than it really is. I say that all the time. Way too much thinking.
What a game, though, for Stephen F. Austin. Including 6 strikes in a row at one point. It's going to be a 220-something for Stephen F. Austin. 160-something. So 222 in game 2. Only 166 final for Vanderbilt. But Stephen F. Austin with 6 strikes in the middle of the game. They win game 2 going away. And we're tied 1 game apiece in this best of 7 final.
I haven't really thought too much about what it would mean. It'd probably mean the world, just because, we won one in 2007. It took us 11 years to win the second one, and then if it took 365 days to win the third one, I'd probably be, pretty ecstatic.
It's so hard to repeat, though. We talked about that in the Open, Carolyn, where you have that target on your back all season long. Everybody's gunning for you. And yet here they sit atop, the #1 ranked team coming in. They lost in the very opening round here in Ohio and had to fight through that loser's bracket. And they did it. And now here they are, tied 1 game apiece. We go to game 3, and Vanderbilt has moved over to what we consider the easier of the 2 lane conditions. Came off the hand of Emily Rigney, and she knew it as soon as she released it.
I'm not sure exactly where it went wrong, but you could hear it at the foul, and she went, oh no.
I think she was actually relieved that didn't do something worse than that.
Just got that way. As you can see, that was just hanging on the edge. Just lost it a little bit to the left.
She's so close to that channel. I'm sure her first thought was, oh, that's going in the gutter. How about Carleen Byers? She bounced back in a big way.
This team seems to have chased this lane pattern to the left just a little bit. Again, a little bit of the slower ball speed. They're allowing the ball to read the middle part of the lane, getting no further than 8. That tracer, the furthest tracer down lane is on number 10. Getting it just to the right of that, around that 9 board, 10 board, has been high flush.
How important was that spare for Emily? Got a little lucky, didn't totally cover it with the ball, but nice to have that pin trip out the 610. So now Adele Warner from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And the 7 goes.
Just didn't seem to be as aggressive on that shot as she has been. I mean, watching her earlier today, she was just right up and at him, keeping her ball speed very direct, and had a great shot to the pocket. It is a different pair, and again, I've used this pair all week.
6th Man of the Year award goes to Dakota Fakney. She's come off the bench with 3 strikes.
Great shot. Starting in at about 16. Again, see how they're not getting it way right down lane?
Yeah. Well, they made that early adjustment. And a spare for Adele. The double, though, gives Stephen F. Austin an 11-pin lead as Sarah Gill patiently waits.
Yeah, I get confused who's supposed to bowl and who's not supposed to bowl every time I'm looking up there.
I think we're all confused right now, but I think it's sort of like, well, I'll go. I'm ready.
I'm not ready. Yeah, I am. No.
So Christian Qua hasn't really hit the pocket yet. She's still searching. And I'll bet you some of it, you pointed it out earlier, Carolyn, some of it probably has to do with ball speed.
Yeah, and I hate to really harp on that because I know she's coming back from an injury, but
right.
I've bowled with her in the USBC Queens event. I've seen her bowl a lot of collegiate events.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her bowling. She was on Team Singapore. Mm-hmm. She really does have usually a lot more leverage getting into the line and a lot more ball speed.
Sarah Gill. What lane conditions? Stephen F. Austin is just taking it to him.
Right now, this team has definitely made the transition to move a little bit left, and not get the ball so far right down the lane out to that 5 or 6 board. They're keeping it around that 9-10. So they have decided to play the lanes off of each other, which is very helpful, number one. But it seems like they have been able to play the left and the right lane very similar, maybe just a few boards to the right on the right lane, and then just move right on back to the left on the left lane.
Do you get the sense they're a little more aggressive?
They're being much more aggressive, especially after that first game when those last few shots, they tried something different, and it's paid off.
Samantha Gaynor. She had 2 strikes on this lane the first time, and now she's a little high. They've been high pretty much this entire game.
I think Vanderbilt right now is being a little bit slow on moving with the transition of the lanes. They need to just get in there, chase it left like they did early on, and be aggressive. Don't play defense.
Wow. A 4-bagger. Well, they are stringing some strikes. 6 in a row in game 2, and now 4 straight to start game 3. Let's talk about in bowling, you can't play defense, and that's a helpless feeling when your opponent just starts stringing those strikes together. Like
Absolutely not. But here's the thing. With the first 4, right now, you need to step up. Vanderbilt needs to step up now and go, you know what? We have nothing to lose right now in this game. We are down. They have a great look on both lanes. So it is time to focus in on executing our shots. Stop worrying about what they're doing and just execute on what we know we can do.
So Maria Balanova, her dad Max, her mom Olga, joining her here in the United States from Moscow, Russia. And there they are, cheering on.
Great shot by Maria. Maria also changed to the ball that she used earlier this morning, which rolls just a little bit sooner in the middle part of the lane and has more of an archy effect on the back. It doesn't read the end of the in a sharp manner.
Stephen F. Austin right now, they are unstoppable. 5 straight to start game 3. Wow, the Lady Jacks with a 45-pin lead. And we'll be back with game 3 in just a moment. Amber Lemke says we've got a young team. Well, they're fearless right now. Stephen F. Austin, the Lady Jacks, after losing game 1, took command of game 2 with 6 straight strikes, and whatever Amber's told him, she's just kind of like, just keep it going. 5 straight to start game 3.
Emily goes high, has not really liked this lane. Again, she may sing, even though she's only throwing 2 shots in each lane, she may be seeing a little bit of transition, but she needs to be aggressive. Team looks like they're playing defense again, and you can't do that, especially when it's the 7 match.
Well, a good shot. It stops the streak of 5 straight strikes, but anytime you're just around that pocket and leaving single pins, you'll take that every time. But nope, not that. In fact, they'll not count that pin that went down because it went in the channel first.
No, and that's one of the things we talked about. She gets nothing for that because it went in the gutter and then knocked the pin off. But when you're on a strike, I know this match is pretty much all over, but when you're on a strike, you need to get count.
Right.
It's very important.
Well, Carlene Byer saying, whoops, excuse me. And then she slapped her teammate right in the face. A double whammy. She missed not only the 4-pin, but her teammate's hand. Maybe that's the start of it.
Much better shot. Looks like she made a parallel move to the left. Keeps the ball in front of her, though. Great leverage. Very simple game. Excellent form, and she gets the carry that she wanted.
Fagney got it out, but too far, and that's almost impossible to make. The 2-8-10.
This lane has always shown its evil eye when they get it too far down the lane. She got that one way out to about the 6-7 board, and again, came in light, 2-8-10.
Yep, you get it out there and it just slides through.
It seems like the right lane is just a little bit more touchy. The break point's about that 9-10. The left lane, when they've gotten it out to about that 7-8, it's actually recovered just a little bit. But I also do think everyone played a little bit deeper on that left lane to start.
Here, if I'm Stephen F. Austin, I say get the 2 pins. Get us the pin count. Forget about trying to make this, because it's really tough to do. If you can clip the 2 into the 10, a lot of times you'll leave the 8.
Correct. You're just supposed to get the 2.
Get the 2. Which is what she did. With a 52-pin lead, that's what you want to do. All right. Door is ajar a little bit for the Commodores. They can string some strikes together the rest of the way. Well, we got one of them to go, but both, and they really needed a double up to cut into that 41-pin lead.
Kristen moved left again on this shot. Right now with her, she either needs to continue to chase it left or it's time for a ball change, because it seems like this ball is just reading it's just too sharp off the pattern. So go to something that probably a bit earlier, so it's just a little smoother on the back for her, or she's got to increase her ball speed.
It's a powerful shot from Sarah Gill. Well, that's fun to look when they all just disappear.
She's been very aggressive from the very first frame of this match.
Yep. To get there. Thought she tugged it a little bit. Samantha Gaynor, Chesterfield, Michigan. Strike in the ninth.
Great shot. It's obvious that left lane is just a little bit more forgiving. They need to take advantage of that.
.95 possible for Vanderbilt. Again, certainly Stephen F. Austin just fill frames and you're going to walk away with a 2-game-to-1 advantage after game 3. Good position for them to be in.
Right now, just concentrating on filling frames.
Spare here, and it's over. An open frame opens the door just a little. 195 possible. So you know Stephen F. Austin going, come on. All we needed to do was mark there. And so Amber and her husband Steve, who serves as the assistant coach, not happy that they at least gave Vandy a chance, but they need to strike out.
She needs them all, yes.
And that's going to do it. So Stephen F. Austin will take game 3. Good throw, though. I mean, that was really a good ball. Sometimes they just don't go. I mean, you get a straight pocket hit and something happens.
It was a good shot, and if she makes the spare, she needs to try either another ball or move somewhere on the lane, or they may have one of their other girls come in and throw a shot. But last game and this game, Stephen F. Austin started out very strong, very aggressive. They are definitely not bowling defensively.
Not at all.
They are bowling. You know what they're bowling like? They're stepping on the approach and go, we want to win.
Yeah.
Really, that's as simple as it is.
They're bowling to win, not bowling not to lose.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that started in game 2 for them. Game 1, they didn't feel that way. I mean, remember they started with 2 open frames in game 1. And then all of a sudden they started to get the nerves out of their system.
And it seems like the right lane is the lane that's just a little bit tougher for the carry. So they started in that lane, but they made the adjustments they needed to make.
They did. And they started this game with 5 straight strikes, which paved the way for them to win game 3. 75 for Vanderbilt. Now they find themselves down 2-1. Looks like Sarah Boyers is going to come in and throw one. And that will do it. So Stephen F. Austin wins back-to-back games in decisive fashion. They take a 2-1 lead in this best-of-7 match for the NCAA Women's Bowling Championship. Now the first round of the NBA playoffs continues tomorrow. The Thunder Trailblazers game on ABC at 3:30. Coverage begins at 3:30 with NBA Countdown, presented by Straight Talk Wireless. Both also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. We welcome you back to Roll House Entertainment, formerly Freeway Lanes in Wycliffe, Ohio. You look at Stephen F. Austin, the Lady Jacks came in and they defeated Sam Houston State, then McKendree, then Maryland Eastern Shore. They had an easy road to the finals. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt, the #1 seed coming in, all they did was lose to Sacred Heart in the first round, and then they had to come back to the losers bracket, beating Arkansas State, McKendree, and Nebraska not once but twice to get to the finals. Now, can they come back again, trailing now 2-1 in this best-of-7 final?
And then that second set where they had to bowl Nebraska in the extra Baker games, because they lost.
Yes.
They started to come back strong there. So that's what they need to do. They need to step back to that and start doing that now. It seems like, again, they're just playing defense. They know that this right lane is a little bit more touchy. Can't get it as far right down the lane. The break point needs to be about 9-10. Everybody who's keeping it around there, except for the left-hander, has been in the pocket.
All right, maybe that's the one that gets them going again. Emily Rigney starts them off with a strike.
The other thing that I think has been very important on this pair is the fact of the girls started in deeper. They've chased it to the left. So ball selection is going to be important. You may need a little bit more surface. It seems like they're playing a little bit more tighter in the middle part of the lane, and especially on the right lane near the break.
Caroline Byer saying, oh, thank goodness I made a single pin spare. She had missed a couple earlier. And she's like, yeah, I love that reaction. Oh, what a relief it is. Now, for my money, what really turned things around for Stephen F. Austin was this young lady. Dakota Fakney came in and really gave them a boost off the bench.
Her first shot was on the right lane. She left the flat 10 and then high flush on the left lane. Played it very similar. Again, not a lot of ball speed.
She's been in that pocket, though.
But she's using a ball that allows her to still be clean with it. There you go. Gets it down to about 8. But we said on this left lane, it's been a little bit more forgiving.
And they start with 2. Oh, wiggled the 10, but it stays. So Adele Warner will go after the 10 pin.
Much better shot from
See
Adele.
6, it just stands up in the gutter. It's supposed to take that 10 out. Again, they go to a spare ball. Something they can throw straighter right at the pin. She bumped the ball return on her.
Anything that takes the lane out of play, or it makes it easier to get that straight line to the spare, I'm sure the girls will definitely opt for.
Sarah Gill. Williamson and Josie Barnes are a little concerned. Their team down 2-1, and that's what Sarah Gill's been doing. Here they go again, another double in this one. 6 in a row in game 2, 5 in a row in game 3.
This team right here, again, she got it to the right of the tracer, about the 9 board. They are not trying to hook the lane. They are trying to allow that ball to float naturally to the right and using balls that are smoother to the pocket, not anything that changes direction.
That's the first time Kristen Qua has really been in the pocket. Better shot. These lanes, 39 boards across, 60 feet in length, 60 feet to glory.
I don't want to jinx any of the players, but they've all become very good spare shooters. Over the years, I've seen the players get better and better every year. And I hate saying that when I'm on a show because I always feel like it's, you know.
The announcer.
You know, oh God, yeah.
3 in a row. Another turkey for the Lady Jacks.
I didn't know which way this match would go tonight because sitting and waiting when you lead an event, sometimes it's a disadvantage because the other team gets the ball on the lanes. It's in the, you're in the environment. Your team chemistry is going. You're all pumped up.
Yeah, especially after game 1 when Vanderbilt came out and won 183-167. You thought, okay, they're going to just keep the momentum they started with earlier today when they beat Nebraska. And then they ran into a juggernaut. Stephen F. Austin with those 6 straight strikes in game 2, 5 straight in game 3, and now here in game 4 with 3 more in a row.
But you could see the difference in the shot making. It's so much more aggressive on the left lane, and they have not stopped since. Vanderbilt still plays like they're playing a little defensively, not sure what they're supposed to do. And of course, there is a little bit more pressure on them now because they're not as lined up as, Stephen F. Austin is. So it's now a little bit of a double pressure.
I think almost all sports come down to one word: confidence. And when you bowl with confidence, when you pitch with confidence, when you hit with confidence, when you golf with confidence, it's a much easier thing to do. When you don't have it, you don't know how to get it back. Now Maria Belanova. This is going to be tough. 2-7-8.
And backing that up, when you do lose your confidence, you tend to start making the little mistakes. Not making the best shot you can, or doubting the adjustments you are trying to make.
Right.
So it leads, it's just a triggering effect.
And in sports, sometimes your opponent can help you lose your confidence because they come out and do kind of what Stephen F. Austin is. You just got punched in the jaw.
Absolutely.
And you're staggered. So for the Commodores, it was sort of like a 1-2 punch. What a great shot. What a great shot by Maria. The 1-2 punch. First, Vandy struggling to find the line. Secondly, Stephen F. Austin bowling lights out. And they have the lead in game 4. We welcome you back to Roll House Entertainment. Freeway Lanes is what they used to call this place, but no longer. It's now Roll House Entertainment. Our officials, our head official, Rick Barbera. Assistant official is Frank Parisi and Stephen Padilla, our assistant official, and we thank them for all their hard work. all week long here in Ohio. With Carolyn Doran Ballard, I'm Dave Armstrong. Glad to have you with us here as Vanderbilt and Stephen F. Austin bowl for the NCAA Women's Championship. Carleen Beyer, that's what she's done so far. Those opens came early. She's been solid of late. Like I said,
she has a really great game. Not a lot of ball speed, but she's so firm with it at the bottom. Just allows the ball to float to the right. It's just, she has a really good look. She just puts it in the spares.
Nice shot by Emily Rigney. She has 2 strikes in this game.
And Emily was very key in Vanderbilt getting here. She made some really good shots and allowed them to start the game off very strong. She needs to do that now tonight.
And now Dakota Fakney. Four strikes in the 5 frames. And split. And that opens the door for Vanderbilt. All that work that Stephen F. Austin did with those 3 straight strikes, but an open here opens the door. And now Warner can come up with a strike here to double up. Oh, she comes through with the same thing. Well, they both have the exact same split.
Great shot by Adele. She always keeps the ball in the pocket. She's a good lane read. It's an unfortunate break for both girls.
Yeah. Well, who's going to make it? These are makeable.
It'd be funny to see them both make it.
This is very similar to a 5'10". It's 4'9". It is makeable. Takes a good shot, but you can do it.
Switching to her spare ball, she's going to hit to the left of the 4-pin. Got a chance. Oh.
Just slid on by.
And again, though, she's on a strike.
Yeah.
Needed to get the 1. I know they're trying for it, but need to get the 1.
Same situation for Adele. She's on a strike. She got the 1. Needed to move just a little further left. So open frames for both. In the lead 22 for Stephen F. Austin as we get down to the nitty-gritty. Here we go to the 8th frame.
Sarah Gill has the best shot on both lanes, in my opinion. She just keeps it just a little bit to the right there. She got that one in just a little bit, and ball laid off just enough. Stone 9, bad break.
Yeah.
But she really does have a little bit of area to the right and a little bit of area to the left. And with that ball, she can just continue to make her moves, you know, the 2-1, the 3-2 parallel, and be just fine.
Christian Quad, no open frames. Do that one a little harder.
She needs to keep that ball speed up on the left lane. Just got that one a little bit further right too. She made the move, and she probably made the same move she did on the left lane.
Yep.
And again, you know, she was aggressive with that. She left something she can spare, so that's what counts.
And there's the spare in the 8th for Stephen F. Austin. She was going to chop it for a second, but again, Kristen with no open frames in this match.
depending on what SFA does, Vanderbilt needs to figure something out in this 9th and 10th frame.
6 strikes, no spares, 1 open. It's hit or miss, and it's mostly hit. What an advantage when you have that in your 9th frame, your foundation frame.
Paige and Sarah are basically playing the lanes the same way. Close to the same ball speed, too. Sarah might be just a little bit harder, but excellent ball management and, honestly, lane play on the part of that team.
So Samantha Gaynor gives Vandy a chance. They come down to the anchor bowlers. Dakota Hazelwood first for the Lady Jacks, and then Maria Belanova for the Commodores. Strike here would win it. Should do it. Stephen F. Austin with a strike in the 9th and 1 here in the 10th.
That's what you call the high hard one. Again, she's playing the lanes very similar to Sarah and Paige. Threw it a lot harder, kept it right in front of her. No chance on that ball going high.
The Lady Jacks. Well, they have a 203 max. She needs, 9 pins in 2 balls. That'll do it. Wow. Crossed over for it, but I don't think she cares because it gives Stephen F. Austin a 3-1 lead.
She threw the first one just like she dreamt of winning an NCAA championship, right? Remember she said that?
That's right. Brought in Angelique D'Alessandro to throw the tail end of the 10th frame. Didn't need a strike, didn't need anything really. And a 224 finish for Stephen F. Austin. 90's the best that Vandy can do. And that's what they will do. But Stephen F. Austin has taken command of the NCAA Women's Bowling Championship. The Lady Jacks have won 3 straight games. It's all smiles and all dancing for Stephen F. Austin. Come back for what might be a decisive Game 5 in a moment. Welcome back to Ohio for the 2019 NCAA Women's Bowling Championship. So here's the story. Top-ranked Vanderbilt. They came into Ohio thinking, all right, we've got it. We can win back-to-back national championships. Then they lost in the very first round. They came all the way back through the losers bracket. Can they come back in this match trailing 3-1? Emily Rigney. That is not the way to start a game that you must have.
She looked a little bit slow on that shot, and again, that lane has been forgiving for the right-handers, not for the left-handers. She Greek churched last time she was on that lane. Just needs to keep up her ball speed. You have to be firm with it right now and aggressive.
Stephen F. Austin. They have won the last 3 games. Carleen Byer gets 7 on her first ball. If you're the Lady Jacks, you have got to ignore the fact that you have a 3-1 lead and just keep your keep your throttle down. I mean, just keep going after it. So an 8 start for the Commodores here in frame number 1.
It's just like Coach Amber said, fill frames,
Yes.
make the spares. Fill frames, make the spares. If we stay within ourselves, just pay attention to what our team is doing, we can win this tournament.
And they didn't fill the frame, so they did not take advantage of the split of the Commodores in frame 1, and Carleen Byer with an open. So just a 1-pin lead now for the Lady Jacks. Direct approach.
Much better shot by Adele. Just needs to stay firm with it. She's not going to move very far left. Gets the trip 4 off of that shot. I'd move my feet 1 or 2 at the most and just stay aggressive, or opt to just a little more ball speed.
Oh, thank me. Unbelievable. It's a toss-up, really, for me, between her and Paige Beanie, who has struck every frame except 1. But Fakney, coming off the bench, has been absolutely magnificent. And now Angelique D'Alessandro, a freshman.
And that's when you know you've built a strong team, when you can put somebody in and they step up to the plate.
Angelique did. But just left the 7.
Great shot on that lane. That's just a bad break. Just needs to focus on making the spare, but it looks like they're making better shots on this left lane.
Sarah Gill. And she threw a good ball, but leaves the 10. Of the two, I personally prefer the 7 rather than the 10.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. No, I mean, but I'm just saying, for an amateur like me, who's not a good bowler, I would much rather go after the 7 than the 10.
For all the young ladies that are watching this TV show, this is a great show. First of all, you have 2 very strong teams who have built very strong programs.
Yes.
But one of the things I really want to point out is, again, I was going to say, I know, and see, I hate to say that because I feel like I jinxed them, but they are very good spare shooters.
They are.
And one of the keys I really want to point out, not high rev players. So everybody gets caught up in, I got to rev it, I got to have a lot of hook. No, you don't. You need to just have really great fundamentals and have a sound game. That's a bad break right there, going just a little bit high, leaving a 410. She has that right there, great leverage. Chin right over that knee, just a little bit forward. Great balance at the line. She's great.
Yeah.
Just a great game.
Paige Beanie. It's got to be a strike. That's all she throws. That's unbelievable.
And right before she goes, she lets that breath out. She's been rock solid. You're right. She has been there every shot.
9 frames, 8 strikes, and 1 open frame. And an open frame for the Commodores off the split. Well, we're nearing the halfway point, and this is a game that Vandy obviously has to have. And you look at the comparison between these 2 anchors. It's pretty even. You know, Maria has a slight edge with 1 more strike. That's her best one of the night.
Excellent shot by Maria. Look at that follow through again. A lot of leverage there, and when they're really long with it, when they let it go, their extension is fantastic. Gets the ball down the lane where it looks effortless.
Dakota answers with a strike of her own. Stephen F. Austin with a 12-pin lead. If they hang on to it, they'll be your national champions. We'll be back. Three-game to one lead for Stephen F. Austin, trying to win the national championship for their second time. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, trying to win back-to-back championships as they won last year. Stephen F. Austin won 3 years ago in 2016, and Vanderbilt also won in 2007.
Texas teams.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that in there. Not that I'm rooting for anyone. I just wanted to throw that stat.
There's a double. Boy, did they need that.
Well,
Huge shot.
Both teams during that commercial break did their little huddle, and I could only hear what SFA was saying, and they were saying it's one shot at a time. Breathe. That's all we can do.
You know, I love sports like this, like tennis, where there's no... You can come back from almost anything. But when the other team bowls like Stephen F. Austin is bowling, it makes it so much tougher. Carlene Byer with a strike. So each team doubles up and back to a 12-pin lead for the Lady Jacks. John Williamson hoping that Adele Warner can make it a turkey.
She's been in the pocket her last few shots. She left the 4-pin.
Didn't leave anything this time.
Another trip 4. Stay right there. She is done. She did her job.
Give the Commodores credit. They haven't bowled their best, but man, they are not giving up. Back to a 2-pin advantage. Here comes Dakota Fakney. Solid stuff off the bench. They are matching strikes now. Each team with 3 in a row. Actually, for Stephen F. Austin, it's 4 in a row.
And she's only a junior.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty young team. Well, you have 2 seniors.
Yeah.
But still, oh my gosh.
Alessandro got a piece over. And she could not nudge the 9. You just think of these last few games for Stephen F. Austin when they had 5 in a row in one game, 6 in a row in another game, 4 in a row in the last game, 4 in a row now in this game, and Sarah Gill to try to make it 5 in a row. Was high all the way and probably lucky to get out of that with a 3-6-10.
They've made some really aggressive shots. They've really kept up their ball speed. Vanderbilt just seems, on some of the shots, they're just not as aggressive. It seems a little slow. Then again, get a little aggressive, you throw through the break point, which Coach Williamson said a lot of times when they get a little aggressive, they were throwing it through the break point. So they just need to, and that's all nerves. They just need to calm down the nerves. Know they have 2 more big frames left to take this to another game.
Well, an important spare shot here for Stephen F. Austin on the 3-6-10. Perfect. Big spare in the 8th. It's basically coming down to the foundation frame and then the anchor bowlers. Boy, that was a good shot. Just left a solid 10.
Very good shot. Needs to just concentrate on making the spare. set up the anchor bowler.
John Williamson's team's been trying to come back this entire week. And now here comes Paige Beanie. No one's been more locked in than Paige. 8 strikes in 9 frames, now make it 8 in 10 frames. She would be the MVP in my book. I mean, and then the 6th person award would definitely go to Dakota Fakeman. So a spare in the foundation frame for the Commodores. It's going to come down to those anchor bowlers. Of course, got to convert the spare here if you're Beanie.
10 pins is not a lot of margin.
No, it's
with
not.
1 frame left.
No, it's not. Okay, there's the spare. Well, Vandy, I think, I mean, they'd really be great if they could just strike out and then put the pressure back on Stephen F. Austin.
Maria's last shot was one of the best shots she has thrown all night.
No question.
She just needs to reflect back on that, which she likes to do. Especially when she said she feels sometimes she gets ahead of herself. So just take that one shot.
Okay, a little bit lucky. You'll take it, though. If you're Vandy, you will take it.
She needs to take that as a break and just regroup.
How about that for a break? Wow. Got a double. And she keeps the pressure on Dakota. Strike here for the championship. And there it is! Stephen F. Austin, your 2019 NCAA Women's Bowling Champions.
That was the best shot she could have ever thrown. Those light hits were fantastic tonight.
You give it to Maria Bolanova. She did everything she could. I mean, but matching strike for strike was Dakota Hazelwood. How good is that going to feel for the rest of her life? She is a senior. She's going to remember forever that what she did here in the 10th frame, along with what her teammates did, is going to carry them to another championship. Commodores just ran into a juggernaut. Amber Lemke and her Lady Jacks are going back to Nacogdoches, Texas, with their second NCAA tournament. You gotta love it. Stephen F. Austin, the Lady Jacks, win the NCAA Bowling Championship. We'll be back.
The NCAA Women's Bowling Championship is brought to you by Mazda, Feel Alive, and Old Spice. Men have skin too, you know.
Stephen F. Austin, they came to Ohio on a mission. They did not lose a single match. And after losing game one, they took 4 straight from the top-ranked team in the country. And Stephen F. Austin, they are your champions. And with a happy coach and a happy captain, here is Carolyn Doran Ballard.
Okay, I'm here with 2 stars from SFA. First, Coach Amber, that's what I called you all night. How does it feel to be a champion once again?
It's pretty awesome. I think I'm speechless. This group of girls worked real hard all year this year, and so for this to pay off for them in the end is pretty exciting.
Okay, and the super stud over here, Paige. Do you ever not strike?
Yes.
Well, you struck mostly every shot tonight and helped your team win the NCAA championship. Sum that up in a few words.
I can't even sum it up. We worked so hard. I think we were underestimated this year, and it just put fuel to our fire, and we just came back swinging. And this group of girls is so great. We worked really hard.
Well, congratulations. Excellent season to SFA, and onward to Texas as a champion. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Carolyn. Paige Beanie, not just a great bowler, great piano player. She's won awards in that as well. And boy, she was playing some sweet music here tonight, along with her fellow senior captain Dakota Hazelwood, as Stephen F. Austin, they come from behind after losing game one to sweep Vanderbilt from there. And they are your 2019 NCAA Women's Bowling Champions. For Carolyn Doran Ballard and our entire crew, I'm Dave Armstrong.